Hello, everyone. This is a great day to start talking about a great subject. But first, let me introduce myself a little bit. This is Professor Ruben Garcia, an educator. I've been teaching English for more than 33 years. In this span of time, I learned that education is a very important tool to defend ourselves and face issues and overcome obstacles. I also teach at university. I am a coach and also an international speaker. I'm also a researcher of leadership issues because I consider that a human being must become a great being with leadership tools that we should apply all the time in our lives. I am a member of international organizations. I represent my country, which is Peru, located in South America. I'm very glad to be here with all of you. Let's start talking about leadership. When we say that leadership is something that all human beings have, but we have to brush off the skills. And we say what the skills are to be a leader. When executives identify a leader they admire, they often underestimate how much that individual may struggle to curb certain patterns of behavior or certain dominant facets of his or her personality. Great leaders make it look easy, but in truth, the majority of effective leaders that we have observed, even so-called naturals like Virgin Group's Richard Branson, for example, have worked hard on themselves. Again, great leaders have worked hard on themselves. The traits that serve an executive well in one leadership position often do not work well in another. Moving up the hierarchy into new roles or environments, executives may find the need to play up or reign in different facets or their personal traits. We have strengths or the strengths might become weaknesses in some times. Fortunately, advances in personality research can provide leaders with a much richer picture of their personality. Psychologists have identified countless traits that distinguish individuals from one another. Research in recent decades has converged toward 5 broad dimensions, each comprising a cluster of traits. And these dimensions appear too robust that they have been doubled the big 5. Now, widely accepted, the same 5 factors are found consistently with different research methods, as well as across time, contexts, and culture. In contrast with other models of personality, we have dimensions that were derived from everyday language that people use to describe one another, starting with a master list of nearly 18,000 personality description. The list was eventually boiled down to 5 fundamental factors: need, but we need for stability. We need extraversion. We need openness. Agreeableness. And consciousness. Why these 5 factors are so important? How much stress is too much? If we say that we need for stability, emotional stability can be a valuable quality for leaders, helping them cope with stress, setbacks, and uncertainty. But it has its drawbacks too. You can be too composed. Poise under pressure helps executives project a reassuring image when others may be inclined to panic. Many executives we coach pride themselves on their ability to remain calm. In extraversion, how much company is too much? Extraversion reflects our desire to be with other people and to draw energy from them. Leadership is about influencing people. On it can be advantage to be outgoing, assertive, and energetic. There is a strong evidence that these characteristics help executives to be perceived as leader-like. The association with effective leadership is much weaker. You can be too assertive or too energetic. Higher scores on extraversion dimension can trigger perceptions that the leaders to be too talkative or too domineering. and how to get the agreeableness. How much confrontation is too much? Agreeableness is a measure of the importance people place on getting along with others. On the other four dimensions of big life, effective executives can possess a great deal of intellectual curiosity or creativity. And consciousness, how much focus is too much? Consciousness reflects the extent to which we want to structure or organize our lives. You can be truthful. And we mean that one risk for highly conscious leaders is that their perfectionism can cause them to fuse over details while losing sight of the big picture. What I also consider important to become a more effective leader is that effective leadership is centered on a vision to guide change. Whereas managers set out to achieve organizational goals through implemented processes such as budgeting, organizational structuring, and staffing, leaders are more intent on thinking ahead and capitalizing on opportunities. I think of management as working with other people to make sure that the goals an organization has articulated are executed. I remember that I read this from Harvard Business School. Dean Nitin Noria in the online course Management Essentials. I also remember that it was said that it's the process of working with others to ensure the effective execution of a chosen set of goals. Leadership is about developing what the goals should be. It's more about driving change. We also need to set up to make the difference between organizing and aligning. In the book on becoming a leader, scholar Warren Dennis presents a list of key differences between managers and leaders, including the manager administers, the leader innovates, the manager maintains, the leader develops, the manager focuses on systems and structure, the leader focuses on people. Managers pursue goals through coordinated actions and tactical processes or tasks and activities that unfold over stages to reach a certain outcome. For example, they may implement a decision-making process when leading a critical meeting or when devising a plan for communicating organizational change. Leaders, on the other hand, are less focused on how to organize people to get work done and more on finding ways to align and influence them. We can also talk about position versus quality. The little manager often denotes a specific role within organization's hierarchy, while referring to someone as a leader has a more fluid meaning. Manager is it's a role and set of responsibilities. As Doc Norton mentions in Forbes, he says that having the position of manager does not make you a leader. The best managers are leaders, but the two are not synonyms. Leadership is the result of action. If you act in a way that inspires, encourages, or engages others, you are a leader. It doesn't matter your title or position. Leadership is a quality that needs to be shaped through learning how to influence others. You can build greater self-awareness and boost your team's performance. Understanding how the work of a leader differs from that of a manager is foundational to your leadership journey. Let me share with you a business insight. Leadership versus manager. When we talk about purpose in leadership, we say that dealing with change, and the purpose in management is dealing with complexity. In leadership, we focus on thinking, change and innovation, and doing the right things. In management, we focus on doing, execution and implementation, doing the things right. The main processes or skills in leadership are formulating visions, aligning people, motivating and inspiring, influencing. And the main processes and skills in management are planning projects, organizing people, monitoring progress and performance, problem solving. The orientation in leadership is the future, the long term. The orientation in management is present, short term. How about daily work? In leadership, high level, strategic. And in management, the orientation is present, is ground level, tactical. The six to achieve in leadership is change, newness, effectiveness, movement. In management, order, consistency, efficiency, and stability. But what are the essential leadership skills and qualities? One important skill is the emotional intelligence, which is the ability to understand and manage your emotions, as well as recognize and influence the emotions of those around you. The term was first coined in 1990 by researchers John Major and Peter Salovey, but later popularized by psychologist Daniel Goleman. Emotional intelligence, also known as EQ, is typically broken down into 4 core competencies: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. How about self-awareness? Self-awareness is having a clear understanding of your strengths, limitations, emotions, beliefs, and motivations. It sounds simple enough, yet a survey by organizational consulting firm Korn Ferry found that 79% of executives had at least one blind spot, or a skill they ranked among their strongest that others reported as a weakness. Leaders who are adept at recognizing and managing their emotions are better equipped to perceive others' feelings and know how to motivate employees. Those who could see a slip in performance. Research in the Harvard Business Review found that teams with individuals who lack self-awareness make worse decisions and are less effective at conflict management. Self-regulation, it's also important, since it refers to how you manage your emotions, behaviors, and impulses. The more self-aware you are, the easier this becomes. If you can recognize what you are feeling and why, you can respond appropriately. If prone to emotional outbursts or overreacting, there are tactics you can use to improve your self-regulation. Pause before responding. Give yourself time to stop and think before immediately replying. This could be as simple as taking a deep breath and allowing for a 20-second pause so that your feelings get out of the way of your thoughts. Take a step back. Sometimes you might need to leave the room, and that's okay. It's often better to take a walk, drink some water, or call a friend than to make a snap judgment, send as a scathing email, or lash out at your team. Recognize your emotions. Try joining down what it is you're feeling and what caused the distress. You likely start identifying patterns. If you know what triggers you, the next time a similar situation occurs, you'll be better positioned to handle it in a healthy, positive way. If you acknowledge your emotions and give yourself time to process them, you can carefully craft how to respond and avoid doing anything that could jeopardize the goodwill you've worked hard to build. Empathy. How about empathy? very, very important, since it's the capacity of understanding another person's experience and emotions, and has been ranked as the top leadership skill needed today by global consulting firm DDI, according to its research. Leaders who excel at listening and responding with empathy perform more than 40% higher in coaching, planning, and decision-making. By actively listening to your employees and taking the time to understand their needs, you can boost engagement, build trust, and more effectively coach them through challenges. The more your team feels appreciated, the more invested they'll be, which in turn leads to a higher moral and a stronger company culture. Motivation is highly important as well, which refers to your ability to inspire both yourself and others to action. Self-motivated leaders care more about hitting organizational milestones than monetary awards. They set goals, take initiative, rise the challenge, and stay optimistic during turbulent times. The more positive you are, the more confident your team will feel. Your intrinsic motivation will permeate the organization, and you'll have a better understanding of how to empower employees. We can also mention social skills. Social skills are all about how you perceive emotions and interact and communicate with others. For example, emotional intelligence leaders can walk into a room of employees with pursed lips and clenched fists, and not only sense the intention, but know how to address and resolve the conflict before it escalates. The more in tune you are with your emotions, the easier it will be to assess others. And if you can assess others' feelings, you can more easily build and maintain relationships. Leaders with strong social skills know that can't achieve success alone. Surpassing goals and reaching milestones requires collaboration, communication, and shared vision. And how to develop emotional intelligence skills. Try journaling. At the end of the workday, reflect on how your meetings, projects, and interactions went, whether positive or negative. By writing your thoughts down, you can spot specific patterns about your behavior and reactions, as well as others. Undergo a 360-degree assessment. In a 360-degree assessment, you solicit feedback from your manager, colleagues, and peers, while also undergoing an individual self-assessment. Through the process, you gain valuable insights into what your coworkers perceive as your strengths and weaknesses, and uncover any blind spots you might have. Take an online course or training. Online courses after working professionals the flexibility. So this online course offer flexibility to complete coursework on your schedule and connect with the global community. We really recommend the courses of the IIU, International Internship University. We have this in order to have some recommendations or tips. And we mentioned feedback. I have tips on how to give and get feedback. In frequency, when giving feedback, provide informal feedback regularly. Don't wait until the annual performance review. Getting feedback is in frequency to seek feedback daily or weekly to improve your performance. If we talk about preparation, while giving feedback, observe others so your feedback is based on facts rather than impressions or feelings. While getting feedback, find an employee or colleague you trust who is willing to observe you and speak honestly about your strengths and weaknesses. Focus on a few key topics. In the delivery and reception of feedback, while giving, focus on employees' performance and progress toward business goals, not on their personality. While getting feedback, ask clarifying questions, but don't argue or refute what the person is trying to tell you. It's very important to mention mindset. In giving feedback, help the person follow through on your suggestions by creating an action plan, providing support, and serving as sounding board. In getting feedback, focusing on mindset, thank your peers to go forward together. How about post feedback? High level, strategic is what you need while giving feedback. And when you get the feedback, you need to have ground level. Follow up the feedback. Given the feedback, plan to check in again to review progress, praise changes, and or redirect behavior if necessary. In getting feedback, following up, begin your action plan to change and plan to check in a multiple occasions. Leaders need to foster transparent communication. Effective communication is foundational to fostering a strong team dynamics and collaboration. A report from the Economist Intelligence Unit found that poor communication in the workplace can yield a range of negative outcomes, including a delay or failure to complete projects, low morale, missed performance goals, lost sales. To help your organization avoid these pitfalls, cultivate a culture centered on open and transparent communication. If you find yourself tasked with leading employees through a complex business situation like organizational change, clearly explain why change is needed and establish a regular cadence to keep everyone apprised of progress. Note how each person's role contributes to larger organizational objectives and can help drive the change process. In addition, emphasize your willingness to discuss any questions or concerns so your employees feel they have someone to approach and confide in as shifts happen. You need to delegate work. Delegating important tasks and projects into your team is a highly useful means of demonstrating trust and empowering your employees. To delegate effectively, ensure you're assigning tasks to employees who are equipped with the knowledge, skills, and resources to handle them, or who stands to gain a valuable learning experience by taking an additional responsibilities. Be sure to play to your team members' strengths when entrusting them with work. Studies show that when employees know and flex their strengths, they more engaged, perform better, and are less likely to leave the company. Be respectful. Treating others with respect is paramount to being a successful manager. According to a report by the Energy Project and the Harvard Business Review, respect has a bigger impact on the employee's sense of safety, trust, and ability to focus than any other leadership behavior. The report also found that employees who felt their leaders treated them with respect were 50% more engaged, 58% more focused, 63% more satisfied with their jobs, and 110% more likely to stay with the organization. Being respectful involves honing your emotional intelligence and building social awareness so that you can be more empathetic and attuned to others' feelings and perspectives. It also requires having faith in your team members and not micromanaging their every move, so they feel confident in their abilities and are motivated to perform their best work. Leaders also need to support learning and development. Encouraging your employees to bolster their skills and knowledge through professional development and learning opportunities can pay dividends for both your team and the company. In a survey conducted by City Square Associates, 8 out of 10 HBS online learners said taking an online course impacted their professional lives for the better, and more than half respondents said they gain additional responsibilities at work as a result of furthering education. We have lots of testimonies of people who have taken different courses at IIU. We can also mention someone that said that learning is essential to survive and prosper both inside and outside of businesses. Let your team members know that you support their ongoing development and serve as an advocate when they approach with an interest in pursuing additional education while balancing the demands of a full-time job. Focus on your development too, and seek out training programs that can help you to reach your personal and professional goals. How to foster employee engagement when your team is remote? This shift has prompted many business leaders to adapt to managing employees virtually. If you want to boost your team's performance, employ these tips. Pay attention. First tip, hold regular check-in meetings. Without a face-to-face interaction that comes with working in an office, check-ins are even more important when managing remote employees. Research shows employees who regularly meet with their managers are 3 times more engaged than those who don't. And second tip, engage in collaborative goal setting. Setting specific, attainable goals is critical to your team's success. Highly how each individual's efforts connect to the work of their colleagues and the company as a whole. Data shows doing so can improve performance by up to 10%. Next tip, solicit input and encourage participation. Research by IBM found that 83% of employees have a more positive work experience when they feel their ideas and suggestions matter. Strive to create a psychologically safe environment in which team members feel welcome to speak up and share their opinions. Another tip is to create opportunities for personal connection. Find ways for your employees to socialize and build personal connections virtually. Some suggestions for cultivating camaraderie among your remote team include leveraging video conferencing, and organizing online boot club so employee can bond over a shared interest. Extraofficial tasks. Something that is very mentioned and is very important is negotiation. Whether you're interviewing for a job, pitching an idea to a client, or asking for a raise, honing your negotiation skills is a worthwhile endeavor. Negotiation is by nature chaotic, as you don't know the desired outcome of those seated across the table. That said, there are things you can do to improve your odds of getting what you want. Let me share with you 7 negotiation tactics that you can try next time. Number 1, keep an open mind. Aptitude is everything in negotiation. It's important to go in with an open mind and be prepared to improvise. Adaptability is imperative in negotiation from start to finish. Opportunities will pop up, so will obstacles. Power ebbs and flows. Talks that crawl along can race forward to veer off in another direction. Even our own objectives may evolve. We have to make the best of whatever unfolds. In a negotiation, patience and an open mind will prevail. Number 2, show your cards. People may think holding your cards close to the vest, like this, or not giving away your agenda is wise in a negotiation, but Wheeler encourages the opposite. Wheeler suggests stating what you want because it can improve the opportunity for both sides. By laying your cards on the table, you can expand the pie by making mutually beneficial trades. Number 3, set and stretch your goal. Preparation is paramount in a negotiation. There is one recommendation by Wheeler, Mr. Wheeler, going to bargaining table with a clear goal. Write it down and commit it to memory. He then suggests setting a stretch goal and making that your starting point. You should also determine the bare minimum you'll accept. You may go in asking for the moon, but be sure you know when to walk away. We can also mention 5 mistakes we need to avoid at the bargaining table. Forgetting to shake hands. Negotiating against yourself, another mistake. Using too many I statements. Next mistake can be losing sight of your values. And another mistake that is also common is rushing the process. We can now mention the fourth skill, which is turn anxiety into excitement. Remember that I told you that I was going to share 7. So these 4 is turn anxiety into excitement. Approaching a negotiation can cause blood pressure to soar, but keeping your cool is key. Keeping your cool is key. Try your utmost to avoiding feeling anxious while negotiation. Woodbrooks advises how to turn gears into opportunity. In an interview with The Atlantic, she described research where she and her colleague gave participants a difficult assignment to sign journeys. A difficult assignment to sign journeys. Don't stop believing in front of a group. Before the exam, participants were told to either say, I'm nervous. So she made them to sing, and the participants could express how they felt before doing this. Some said, I'm nervous. Others, I'm excited. The results showed the excited participants actually felt more comfortable, even more surprising, and seemed to improve their singing. Number 5, project power. How you carry yourself is critical in deal making. You should be assured your body language projects confidence and power. Stand with your head slightly tilted and your hands clasped, and with a smile and a gaze that meets the other person's. The head tilt exposes the neck and says, I am listening, I am comfortable, I am receptive. By contrast, if you touch your neck or cover the dimple at the base of it, you are saying you are uncomfortable, insecure, or concerned. As number 6, we can say, take a timeout. Knowing when to take a break can be a powerful tool. Not only will give you time to collect yourself, but it can disarm your opponent. This technique is often used by athletes when things are going their way. It works like a reset button. Wheeler says in his book, Interrupted, whatever this functional pattern has emerged. Remember to take a break before you actually need it, so you are constantly performing at the highest level. And number 7, silence can be golden. If you can physically leave the room, at least take deep breaths. Pausing can be a great way to get what you want. It gives you time to observe, digest, and carefully consider your response, but might also create discomfort on the other side, which could lead to a better deal. How to create value in negotiation. Negotiation is a two-way street. Remember, negotiation is a two-way street. It's a process to involve not just claiming value, but creating it. If you want to become a more skilled negotiator, I can mention 3 ways you can create value the next time you're at the bargaining table. Build trust. Trust is a foundational component of an effective negotiation. Find uncommon ground. Value creation requires focusing on areas where you and the other party have different interests and receptions, rather than common things. Be agile. Being a successful negotiator involves knowing how to think on your feet. Something also highly important is decision making. Strong decision making is critical to business success. However, a recent survey by management consulting firm McKinsey shows that 20% of professionals believe their organizations excel at it. The reality is, it's very rare to find a single point in time where a decision of significance is made and things go forward from there.